Hi there. Today I'd like to talk about something that is very near and dear to my heart, neurodegenerative diseases. It is something that we all need to be aware of. We all need to be learning about and thinking about. Neurodegenerative diseases is something where the nervous system is affected. The cells in the brain and the spinal cord are affected and they start changing, they start degenerating, leading to things like Alzheimer's, MS, ALS, Parkinson's, and a variety of other things. The reason it's very important for us to know about this and to really start addressing it as a country is because 5 million Americans suffer from Alzheimer's disease today in this country. 1 million from Parkinson's, 400,000 from MS, which is multiple sclerosis, over 30,000 from ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or better known as Lou Gehrig's disease, and 30,000 from Huntington disease. These are all, they fall into the umbrella of neurodegenerative diseases. Most people, when they get a neurodegenerative disease, they simply are told that not much can be done about it, that it is a condition that will lead to a lot of disability and a lot of debilitation. This is something that is very scary and it's very emotional for millions of people in this country. Myself included. My husband has been diagnosed with ALS. This was about 2 years ago, and it is very emotional for me to talk about, but I feel that it is my mission and passion to talk about this because I want everybody out there that is listening to do something about it now, to really protect themselves against having neurodegenerative diseases. If there is a way, we need to find it. We need to find prevention, we need to find treatments, and ultimately, of course, we need to find a cure. So I've embraced this in my practice and started really delving into what we can do to help people who might have some signs and symptoms of neurodegenerative conditions or have been diagnosed with these. We like to take a very comprehensive functional medicine approach to treating brain health in our patients. And brain health can be anywhere from the spectrum of having some brain fog, some memory issues, some brain fatigue, and just those kinds of symptoms that I think we all experience at certain times, all the way to the spectrum of having a diagnosis of ALS, MS, Parkinson's. So what do we do about this? How do we start peeling the onion from where we know about it from a traditional viewpoint? And mind you, the other thing that actually I do like to bring into this category is autism. Our kids in this country, how many kids do we know that are being diagnosed with autism? And it breaks my heart. ADHD, so difficult because the kids are really suffering, and I know that we can do something about it. So with that being said, what I like to start with is look for what are the causes of these symptoms. Is the cause inflammation? And we know a big cause of all of these conditions is inflammation. So what are we doing about that inflammation? So we start peeling the onion, checking for inflammation in the body. We look at the gut. Is there leaky gut? Is the gut microbiome imbalanced? And I've done another educational video on leaky gut. I'd highly recommend that you watch that one for a little bit more deep dive into leaky gut. So we like to look at the gut. Then we like to see if there are foods that you're sensitive to that is creating an inflammatory process. Are there heavy metals that we have been exposed to that is causing some of this brain dysfunction? Do we have infectious causes for these issues that we're dealing with, whether it be Lyme, whether it be mold, parasites, candida, Epstein-Barr virus, CMV? So we test for those things. I also like to look at neurotransmitter testing to see which neurotransmitters are either too high or too low so that we can balance that and give you better brain function. The next thing we do is to look at nutritional deficiencies. We have a variety of ways of doing that. We have blood test. We also have energetic test called Zyto. And we do a variety of those things depending on what we're treating and who we're treating and what their background is. Psychological stress and emotional stress is something that we really like to address as well. This is a topic in and of itself, how psychological and emotional stress and toxicity can lead to our body breaking down on multiple levels. And then when the body has broken down to a certain point where our immune system just cannot function, it can then trigger neurodegenerative conditions such as the ones that I've mentioned. So that is a very huge component that we must look at as well. Stress, of course, is a huge one. We know that stress is one of the biggest killers. Endocrine abnormalities. Very important to look at your thyroid, your adrenals, your sex hormones, melatonin, all of the hormones, how they're playing together, and what might be leading to issues with your nervous system working and your brain and your spinal cord working. And then, of course, the general screening that we always look at, your liver, your kidneys, your blood count, your lipids, and such. And definitely look at your vitamin D levels, your insulin, and see what's going on there. And are you really putting all of that together? Is your body working optimally to be able to heal itself? We are, as human beings, fully capable to heal ourselves. We need to just make sure that we give the body and give everything in our body the stable environment in which healing can occur. So once we look at all of those things, and it really depends on my patient's history and what they've been exposed to, and we customize the protocol based on what they present with. But these areas that I've mentioned have been shown for decades to be some of the causes for such neurodegenerative diseases, and it's very important to dig deep rather than just some basic testing. When we talk about treatment, what kinds of things do we do? Well, it really depends on what we found. Is there emotional and psychological toxicity happening? With that, whether it's counseling, whether it's something really dramatic called EVOX. EVOX is an energetic healing system in which we're able to release the emotional toxins so the body can go into a healing stage and a healing phase. We actually balance the thyroid, the hormones, look at the cortisol, balance all of that so that your body is ready for that healing and it can actually feel balanced, it can sleep well, it can function well. We look at your immune system and see what we need to do with that. We do antioxidant therapy, we do different IV therapies to be able to rebuild the energy. One of the IV protocols that is fantastic for neurodegenerative conditions is called the PK protocol, and it's named after its founder, Patricia Kane. It's based on phospholipid therapy, because all of our cell membranes are made of phospholipids, and we need to strengthen the cell membranes and release the toxins so that we can start getting rid of the bad and bringing in the good. And so the phospholipid therapy is very, very important, and it's made up of 5 different elements, and just briefly, those 5 elements are phenylbutyrate, then you have glutathione, you have phosphatidylcholine, leucovorin, and B12. So those things are very important. We also make sure that we get rid of candida from your body. We make sure that your gut is completely healthy, the microbiome is working the way it needs to, and if you have heavy metals, then we might consider some chelation. All of these things are super important, and along with everything, we are a big believer in CBD, which is a very anti-inflammatory product. It is excellent for neuroinflammation. We have tons of studies that back up this data about using CBD oil, but really the purest and the best version with no THC involved in it, to really decrease the inflammation in the brain. And then there are other things that we can add depending on what's going on, known as stem cells. Everybody's heard of stem cells. Stem cells are great because once you stop the toxicity from occurring and the damage from occurring, we do need to then regenerate the cells in the brain and in the spinal cord and different areas of the body. So we use the purest kind of stem cells, as well as we have protocols to use new plasma, which is young plasma, and those are things that we offer depending on, again, what the condition is, what's going on with the patient, what stage are they at, and what needs to be done as a combination protocol. So the options are wide and the options are incredible. The goal of my educational video today is to let you know you don't have to feel hopeless and helpless, because your body has been made to be able to do miraculous things. But we need to give it the environment that it needs so that we can get rid of the toxins and bring in the good stuff so we can start healing. So with that, I'm glad you joined me today. If you have any more questions, concerns, please go to our website, drshel.com. That's drshel.com. Look at some of my other videos on the PK protocol, on leaky gut, on several other things that collaborate with the treatments that I've talked about. And thank you for joining us.